Good morning, everyone. Happy Monday. Happy Monday. Yo, yo, yo. Good morning, everyone. We got CES this week. A lot of consumer electronics show. So hopefully a lot of consumer electronics this week. I think it doesn't technically start until tomorrow. I don't really, the schedule's kind of, yeah, I don't know. It's kind of weird, but, I'm gonna try and watch, anything that's happening during stream, but I think it, technically it starts tomorrow. Like all the show floor conferences and stuff are tomorrow. So, the NVIDIA show conference is tonight at 6:30 p.m. Won't be streaming it, but I'll be watching it. So I recommend anyone else takes a watch if you want to look at that. We'll cover it on stream tomorrow morning, probably, whatever they covered. But yeah, any other stuff that's coming up, we might take a look at this cool robot thing that I found. But not much is shown. There's like an LG. There's like some like private media things, media conferences. Yeah, like this CES unveiled thing, LG Electronics. I don't know, these like kind of random like private stuff, private ones. So, and like no offense, like the LG one is just like TVs. Like I don't know, it's whatever. So, anyways, CES this week, so we'll be taking a look at this as things get announced. But I have a good spread today. We'll start off with this story here, and then we'll look at Longshot Space, which it's another one of these like alternative, I mean their branding's great, but it's like alternative kind of way of launching vehicles, space vehicles, and they're making the world's largest gun to launch them into space. So yeah, seems interesting. So we'll take a look at them and some other stuff in between. Got us. I don't even know what's actually going on with like the AI industry right now. Like the startup scene, like all the big guys, mainly OpenAI and them, are just, bro, they're just chirping some fucking bullshit. Honestly, they're trying to like take advantage of like the FOMO and hype, I feel like, to raise money, or at least just kind of, that's what it seems like. I don't know. There's like the hype is being, it's like too much right now. I don't know. I feel like we're kind of we're starting to go into a bubble, if we aren't already, just based off of like false claims and hype. I don't know what indicators there are to show that we're going into a bubble, but yeah. Anyways, let's start with this little video here about CES, CNBC. I say little video like it's like I'm talking down to them, but I don't mean it. Oh, whoops. Desktop muted.
Show, better known as CES, brings together the biggest names in the industry and helps set the tone for the year.
All right, we're
this
professionals
year,
here.
No question, AI will again be in the spotlight. Our Deirdre Bosa has more on what to expect in today's Tech Check segment. I don't have to tell you, Jim Cramer is very excited for Jensen's keynote, Jensen Huang of NVIDIA's keynote on Monday.
As we all are, and Sarah, you said it, AI is in the spotlight again, but the stakes this time, they're higher than ever. This is users and investors alike are looking beyond the hype for those real-world applications. Now, the elements are there. As Sarah just said, kicking off the conference is NVIDIA.
It was up like this Friday. It was up quite a bit. It's been going up. I feel like everyone's hyped over CES, so it better be good.
CEO and AI kingmaker himself, Jensen Huang, during his keynote Monday in Vegas, he is likely to give a broad overview of the market and where we are at. Industry watchers, they're expecting a key GPU upgrade with the RTX 5000 series. That's based on the new Blackwell architecture that you've likely heard a lot about. NVIDIA shares are up nearly 7% over just the last session in a bit. And
yeah, I didn't even think about the consumer GPUs. Oh, dang, I didn't even think about that. We covered it a few weeks ago, the rumors, and they're going to be launching like 7 different cards or something.
anticipation of that keynote. Now, for the industry at large, the pressure is on for actual use cases like agents and devices beyond smart toasters and smart refrigerators, which seem to have become a staple of CES. People want more, though, especially as last year's high-profile AI releases, they ultimately underwhelmed. There was the R1 device from Rabbit and the Humane Pin. I don't know if you remember those, but both of them flopped. AI PCs, they were everywhere too, but shipments dipped last year, and lackluster growth for the PC industry is expected this year. Now, adding to this sense of urgency is a trend that we talk about often on Tech Check. This idea that advancements in large language models are shifting the market now in a digestion phase where the focus has moved from raw innovation in those LLMs to integration, optimization, and scaling.
It's because because we now need to essentially there's now selling to, you know, further up this curve here. If this is innovators or early adopters, they need to actually sell to early majority, which is kind of the next rung on the technology adoption curve. They need to sell to this early majority, but the early majority needs real life use cases. They're a little bit less, they're a little more conservative, and so they need real life use cases for them to be able to justify selling to it. And this is kind of the mainstream market. So they're trying to break into the mainstream. Now there's actually strategy. There's actually a strategy used to cross this right here. This is the chasm. This chasm is hard to cross because it's generally where emerging technologies go to die. And I'm claiming this little sneak peek for my video, but I say I actually think we're crossing this chasm right now. We are, consumers are trying to understand what's going on a bit. They're trying to learn about it, and they're slowly starting to use like easy tools like ChatGPT, but these are just very broad, and people who are using it are actually kind of more early adopters, still in these early phases here. But these companies really haven't still gained the full trust of like everyone. Like, people are still very skeptical of it. They don't trust it. It's a bit of a black box still. We don't really fully know how things come to the answers, besides just kind of more broadly, and especially for businesses, they need to be able to understand like what's happening. And we've taken a look at quite a bit of opinion surveys too, for businesses and consumer side, and that's usually the biggest problem, is this trust thing, and that's what this chasm right here is about. Now, a strategy that companies use to cross it, though, usually is they will make a product that kind of that actually works, and they call it a beachhead, kind of like in the military. If you're like you are taking over a place, you get a beachhead. You kind of could set up a little bit of a area where it's kind of safe, where in terms of business, where a product actually works, and it's just a very specific small sector of the larger one that they could use as a way to build trust and get people to understand it, so then they could kind of use that to open up to the wider audience, to a broader audience. And we're still crossing this. I feel like they're still trying to figure it out. Those beachheads are still being deployed to find a full foothold in the market. And so that's when I don't remember her name, but when she was saying that they're looking for ROI on AI spend, that's them targeting this early majority. They need to show that their products give a return on investment, and they could justify larger spending, so they could kind of reach this mainstream market. Essentially, non-tech companies or non-tech focused companies is who they're going to need to be targeting, because tech companies are obviously much more progressive in terms of technology, and are usually on the forefront of it, whereas more mid-market companies kind of don't really have that. And it also goes into this. I keep coming back to this, but this phase here, on the fly phases I created. This is kind of also what they're talking about. We're arguably still in this like phase 2 transition to phase 3. Phase 2 selling to, you know, these IT departments, and these IT departments are still assessing to see if they're getting a return on investment, and then we'll start getting more adoption here. So okay, whoops.
Investors, they're becoming increasingly wary of ballooning costs tied to bigger and better models. They're looking for ROI in applications. We're better to look than CES. Another key battle.
Yeah, and then also something to note is also these companies, the actual higher tier, you know, the higher phase companies who are actually making the products, the AI products, these guys need to actually start seeing a return on investment, or at least not necessarily like return, but just trending in the right direction, at least trending upwards, so they could justify either continuing to spend or cutting back. But I feel like it's kind of like the Spider-Man meme where like everyone's pointing guns at each other because like it's, or you know, pointing at each other because it's like who's gonna cut spending first, you know, like, or who's gonna stop first. Oh, my fucking camera froze again. You know, like they're like who's gonna stop spending first, and then that's kind of gonna be the trigger, I guess. But I feel like it hasn't really done that quite yet. What is this? Oh, you could generate? Oh, what the heck? All right, okay. Anyways.
Applications, we're better to look than CES. Another key battleground is agents, AI that is capable of thinking and acting on its own to complete tasks. Increasingly, those are being built into existing devices and ecosystems like smartphones, like the iPhone, not through new AI hardware. The last thing that I will note, guys, is that in recent years, CES has lost a little bit of its shine and relevance. Contributing to that has been COVID, the rise of cloud and enterprise software at a consumer conference, and gimmicky or incremental updates versus real groundbreaking innovation. So this year is really an opportunity for CES to revive its role in the age of AI as we get closer to those killer apps. We're still looking for them though. So CES, you know,
Yeah.
hopefully will showcase at least where some of those are heading.
It's fascinating, Dee, because that does really tell you where the industry is. If the most anticipated event at CES is the CEO of a company that makes racks of servers that no real consumer directly interacts with. So it's not like cute little robots and things like that.
Yeah.
It's a great point. But I will say that the developments in GPUs are focused really on the inference stage, right? They're focused on gaming, they're focused on applications. So what they'll be used for, that'll be interesting. But you're right, like around the edges, we're not looking for the hardware makers, for the chip makers. We're looking for stuff that people can actually use on their devices. On that note, I will note that, you know, Apple hasn't been going in an official capacity since the early 90s. There's just so many events now, and Apple, you know, has tended to even front run them, like with the Vision Pro before. They did that, they released that just ahead of CES. So the stakes are high, and they got to get beyond smart toasters. That's my message this year. We got to see more.
I don't know. Mashable has their top 5 expectations, and one of them is a weird emotional support AI robot. So you might be disappointed.
There you go.
Yeah.
Better than a
A
toaster.
company called Mixie. I think it looks actually cute.
And even smarter toasters.
All right. Interesting. Yeah, I mean, they definitely have high hopes for like the AI stuff at CES, because we're way too early to start getting like more dedicated hardware stuff for AI. I feel like, I mean, we're obviously going to see some stuff, but yeah, I don't know. I feel like it's too early still for like more hardware stuff, unless it's robotics, but that's its own kind of completely separate field. But this is what I was talking about, the Unleashed thing, I guess. I didn't even know there's like a video.
CES unveiled at 2025. So let's get into
Oh, look, there it is, emotional support.
You will be interested in from the first show of CES. So starting off with Caseta from Lutron.
Okay, let's watch this actually, because I do want to keep up with CES stuff, and then we'll jump into the main stories. Here we go.
Smart home brands out there. They make some of the most reliable products, and now they have a new, more affordable version of their smart shades. It works with all the major smart home brands, including Apple
Home. We're jumping around.
Caseta
smart shades.
and
Okay, cool. Yeah, whatever.
Higher end Serena shades. Next up is a
Toothbrush?
fan favorite that has a new colorway. It is Life In. So they have this amazing electric toothbrush that is always touted as basically the
How much does it
Apple
cost?
of toothbrushes. And they made a few modifications this year. They have different accessories that I had not seen before, including a carrying case and a holder for the extra tips. But what is really big is they have a new titanium color. It is this year.
That's it, bro? A color? All right, we're skipping that.
And now they come in a new titanium finish. Next, we're going to pop on over to Current, which is this really awesome looking pizza oven. So it's both an
It does look
indoor
cool.
and
I love
outdoor
this. This
electric
down here is
pizza
really
oven.
clean.
No need to rely on propane or wood.
Okay,
There's
cool
what
pizza
the
oven.
AI
Yeah.
recipe calls for to
Okay,
make the perfect
Targus.
pizza.
I've actually heard. They
And
make
then
like they make like phone cases and stuff. I sort of heard of these guys.
over to the Targus and
Oh,
Hyper-Loop.
bags.
Now, they
Oh,
have a few different backpacks, including some that work with Find My. But this is the one that I was really interested in. It's almost $300, and this is from the Targus line. It is a
$300?
very luxurious, high-end bag. Up here at the top, you have a little compartment for something like sunglasses or your regular glasses with a very plush microfiber lining. Has a very large interior. You can see all of those pockets there. On the bottom, additional compartment with a removable tech pouch. Super handy. But what I
cool.
also
I have
love...
a tech pouch. You gotta have a tech pouch if you're a tech person. I have one. Keep all mobile cables and chargers and everything in
So
it.
you
It's
can
so
actually
convenient.
push that down, it just pops into place, and you have an even larger interior
Interesting.
main cabin. So if you have something large, like a gimbal for your camera, could easily fit in there. There's an RFID blocking pocket in the back. There's spots for your iPad and a 16-inch MacBook Pro there in the back of it. Has a retractable USB-C cable, so you can put your own battery pack on the inside and run a cable
Interesting.
straight through to the outside. And there's a little luggage tag on the other side. This one is also filed under Targus. This is their new Thunderbolt 5 dock. We have seen a few Thunderbolt 5 docks. This is more geared towards enterprise, so there's no media spots like CF Express or SD card.
Okay.
But there's multiple USB. Have that active cooling, which helps things run
Glucose
smoothly.
monitor.
Now, this is from Abbott. I was super interested in this because we have heard so much about Apple
Abbott,
looking at
big
creating
tech,
a
or big pharma.
non-invasive glucose monitor for Apple Watch and how things like your day,
Okay, yeah.
if you want to continue trying it. Ugreen was showing off this AI-assisted NAS that could do things like search your photos and everything, but what I thought was...
Dang, that's crazy. I actually just got for Christmas the Ugreen charger here. Because I literally, like, I used to, like, just every year always just, like, get for Christmas a battery pack. Or at least every few years, and it kind of just, like, kept up, you know, it was, like, enough, but, like, I haven't gotten one in so long, and so all my old ones, like, they literally don't even have, they're still, like, old, like, micro USB and shit. I don't even have any USB-C stuff. And then I was like, bro, I don't even think I could charge this. I don't even, like, I have the cables, but like I don't even have any USB to like iPhone or USB-A to iPhone or whatever chargers anymore. And also these are literally only 12 watts. Like, this is nothing nowadays. So like I needed a new one. So I got 100 watts. Yeah, it's good. Cool. I think nowadays having one that could charge like your laptop and everything, so you could just have one. You could literally have something like this that powers everything. Is very convenient for going out. Okay. A 500 watt, like,
cooler is this massive...
it must distribute. It must, like, each one could only have like a max of 150 or something.
500 watt GAN charger. There are 6 USB ports on here. There are 5 that are USB-C and 1 that is USB-A. One of those USB-C ports can do up to 240 watts of power by itself, and the other 4 are up to 100 watts. These things are rare at this massive capacity, so I was super intrigued by it. Moving over to Govee, they had several new smart lights on display here at Unveiled. So let's take a closer look, starting off with these gaming pixel displays. They come in these 2 sizes. They have all these different features. Where
Although I hate this. I don't know. So like sometimes it's like there's like the gamer look, and it's like, bro, I just want it to look like normal.
like sports scores, all these different pixelated art displays. But you can also use AI to generate images that you want to describe something, and it can pull it up for you. Unfortunately, it won't work with Matter or the Home app, but these new lamps will. They have audio brought to them by JBL. They have all these different colors in there. There's a speaker there at the...
These are like, stuff like these are cool. Like, actually, I was looking for lights recently, but it sucks that like like you probably have to use their app or whatever to like do like stuff, and it really just like ruins it for me, because then I have and I don't know. I just having an app to do something like this. I don't know. Like a proprietary app, I guess. Like if I wish there was just like a universal, I could just have one app and it just works with everything. I know Home Assistant, but that requires like a lot of other setup, I guess, before you get it going. But yeah, okay, let's look at this one.
Then we have SwitchBot, which is something entirely crazy. They call it the first multi.
Oh, this is the, we're actually gonna look at this here because it was cool. So we'll watch this and we'll cover it later here too.
Robot. Basically, it's
oh, that's cool.
It can do all sorts of different things throughout your home, depending on what you need. Essentially, you have a standard robot on the bottom, and there's that tray that kind of sits above it with a camera, and it combines those together alongside.
Okay, what's a stand? They say it's a standard robot on the bottom. Bro, like pause like 5 minutes ago. We saw the thing go, right? Jesus, right as I clicked it paused. Jesus. Like what do you mean a standard robot? This doesn't look like a standard robot to me. So it looks like it has a vacuum on the bottom, and then it has this little like addition, or like, you know, this like shelf, and then you can put stuff on the shelf. Imagine having like a patrolling robot with a camera. It's like literally like a video game. If someone breaks in, it's like, okay, it has its cone of view. We have to dodge it every time.
It could move a fan around your house. This is a little air purifier with a table on top. So depending on the room, it could literally move your air purifier to the room.
That's interesting. That's moving the air purifier in the room. That's interesting, actually.
Based on different sensors that you have. All these different things, you can see the robot hiding underneath, but it's a unique. I don't know how many people are going to use it, but it's still pretty cool. I found my way over to the Belkin booth. Belkin had a few things on display, but what I thought was most interesting is this grip for your iPhone. So it magnetically connects to the back via MagSafe.
I've actually been kind of looking for something like this because I was into photography quite a bit for a while, and I had a nice camera, like a good like introductory DSLR camera. I think it was like a Nikon D3300, which now is like archaic. I got it, I think it's 10 years old. I think I got it in 2015, which I think it's 10 years old now. Anyways, I mean, I don't know. The iPhone cameras are just, phone cameras in general are just like super good. So I was like, one of these would be cool to kind of get the same feel or whatever. So this is cool. It's coming out.
It can wirelessly charge your iPhone, but only at, I believe, like 5 or 7 watts. It's not very fast. It acts as a shutter, so you can take photos as a vertical stand.
Okay, I don't know about this cable thing. It's weird.
A built-in USB-C cable, and the front of the device has a tiny little screen that you can use to see the battery percentage remaining.
Okay, that was less cool than I thought it was.
Wonder. So they are known, or Experience Wonder, but they are known for Bird Buddy, this really cool bird feeder. But this year they had something new called Pedal and Wonder Blocks. Pedal are these tiny little 4K cameras, and they can literally be solar powered. You can wrap them around different things in nature.
Okay, that's interesting.
And then you'll get this feed of your garden. And if you do go the solar power route, you don't even have to charge them. They can do things like tell you how your plants are doing, or tell you when you have different visitors, be it a butterfly, a ladybug, or other things like that. There's multiple lenses that you can swap out, including a macro lens or a wide angle lens, depending if you're looking for creepy crawlies or if you're looking to check out your plants. They go alongside the company's other new product, Wonder Blocks. There's a planter version you see here, as well as the other ones on the table. And these are basically nature that you can put in your backyard that have things like a little bug hotel and all these other fun tricks to them. And of course, there's Nature Chat, where you can talk to your garden and an LLM will give you smart responses.
Okay.
Finally, I went over to Stern Pinball because I had to wrap up CES Unveiled by playing some pinball. They were showing off their new Dungeons and Dragons version that has just released, and these things were so cool, so intricate, and seriously, so fun. There's a dragon that moves around in there. I played this for
like actually, is it like
as the show?
Is this for consumers? Like a consumer electronics show, but like, bro, this thing was cost like 10 grand. Who's buying that? I don't have it here. Okay. Anyways, yeah, okay. CES. Keep this updated as we go. All right, I want to talk about actually let's talk about the SwitchBot now that we're just like on the CES thing. So, SwitchBot introduces modular mobile home robot. K20 Pro can ferry useful appliances around your house. That's funny. It's an interesting like way of doing it. But also I do like this because I think I talked about this like last stream, but I feel like we have this fixation on like humanoid robots, but like I don't know, they're robots, and so why do we have to have have them be kind of like human shaped? I do like this because it's like it's using like a good platform to do like other things that isn't like a humanoid robot, I guess. You know, like having it be like this shelf that could ferry things around. Looks like there's some connections here. Like that's a good idea outside of the humanoid robot space. They reviewed SwitchBot S10. So this is the vacuum. Yeah, and especially if they already make the vacuum, like this is a good addition, like, you know, kind of to build on top of the stuff they already have or designs they've already made. Vacuuming and wet mopping robot that uses water integrated docking system to autonomously manage both clean and dirty water for you. It's a pretty clever solution, and we appreciated that SwitchBot was willing to try something a little different. At CES this week, SwitchBot introduced the K20 Plus Pro, a little autonomous vacuum that can integrate with a bunch of different accessories by pulling them around on a backpack cart of sorts. K20 Plus Pro is SwitchBot's latest effort to explore what's possible with mobile home robots. What is this other one they linked? But yeah, this is kind of like what I'm talking about too. It's like different. Like it doesn't have to look like a human, I guess. What we're looking at here is a mini robotic vacuum. It's about 25 centimeters diameter. That does everything a robotic vacuum does nowadays. Is uses LiDAR to make a map of your house so that you can direct it where to go. It's got a dock to empty itself and recharge and so on. The mini robotic vacuum is attached to a wheeled platform that SwitchBot is calling a fusion platform that sits on top of the robot like a hat. Fusion platform. Vacuum docks to this platform, and then the platform will go wherever the robot goes. This entire system robot dock platform is the K20 Plus Pro multitasking house robot. Oh jeez. They refers to it as the smart delivery assistant because you can put stuff on the platform, and the K20 Pro will move that stuff around your house for you. It really doesn't do it justice though, because the platform is much more than just a passive mobile cart. It can also provide power to a bunch of different accessories, all of which benefit from autonomous mobility. Interesting. So is this the like larger dock here? Interesting. Charging contact, debris evacuation mode. Rear bumper. Oh, it has a Type-C on top. And DC power, 50 watts. 50 watts is like pretty good. So air circulation fan, a tablet stand, a vacuum and charging dock. And an air purifier and security camera and a stick vacuum for some reason. That's what I was wondering. I was like, bro, what is this? Like, what is this? And lastly, just the air purifier and security setup. You can also add and remove different bits. Like if you want the fan along with the security camera, just plop the security camera down on the platform base in front of the fan. You're good to go. You can have one smart powered base that moves around a bunch of less smart and unpowered payloads by driving underneath of them and then carrying them around. The SwitchBot's payloads aren't just passive cargo, and the base can provide them with a useful amount of power. Yeah, 50 watts is pretty reasonable. Oh, we actually watched a video about this the other day. Oh, excuse me. It's actively encouraged users to create and adapt personalize the robot for a wide variety of applications, which may include 3D printed components. That's exactly what I was just thinking. Or third-party devices with multiple power ports for speakers, car fridges, or even UV sterilization lamps. Interesting. Car fridges? You can put a fridge on this thing? 8 kilograms. Put an arm on this thing, and SwitchBot, of course, already working on this. The arm is still in the lab stages. Switchbot said it, which I'm guessing means that the hardware is functioning, but that getting it to reliably do useful stuff with the arm is still a work in progress, but that's okay. Getting arm to reliably do stuff is a work in progress for all robotics, pretty much. Yeah. And like the fact that you just adding robot arms onto something like this actually adds a bunch, because it can essentially clean up for you, organize stuff while it's vacuuming, you know, like it's which fits really well. Just, you know, vacuums. It also pick up big stuff. Delivering. Oh yeah, because it could reach in the fridge with an arm or something. The patrolling thing is cool to think about too, just having a little security robot like that. Mobile humidifier? Bro, that's insane for houseplants, bro. Holy shit. Be like, bro, I need this corner more humid. Also, I haven't muted because I got copyrighted. I got like a copyright on a video the other day for like watching like some like product preview or some bullshit. Oh, so this SwitchBot already has other stuff. Interesting. Cool, yeah, this is neat. All for it. Now, probably costs like $1,200. K20 Plus Pro. Let's see if they even have it's for sale yet. The fact that it's not coming up isn't a good sign. Okay, let's look at the K10 Plus. Oh, excuse me. It's actually pretty reasonably priced. Floor cleaning. Oh, K10. I'm trying to look at the biggest package. Okay, K10 Pro. Oh, that's what we're looking at. Oh no, it is different. So $600. Oh yeah, this the K20 Plus Pro is at least like 800 to 1,000. But is this are they like a Chinese company? I don't know. I just been like burned by like every Chinese company that like I buy products with. Like I just feel like I'm just being burned. Like they're getting banned or there's some like vulnerability and it's just like I don't know who to use. Like shit. Anyways, okay. Interesting. All right, let's jump into this this story here. In 2025, people will try living in this underwater habitat. Like this is literally like from Star Wars or some shit, you know. We're getting the moon bases eventually, but you know, no one's talked about the undersea bases. The Vanguard project is a pilot program for the full-scale Sentinel underwater habitat seen here, which Deep hopes to complete in 2027. That's so optimistic. A typical Sentinel crew would be 6 people, but the modular system could be configured to support as many as several dozen at depths as great as 200 meters. It just reminds me of that Archer episode where like Carol's like rich brother spent all of his money spent all of his money doing like scientific endeavors and then built funded like an underwater habitat by some like crazy dude, and he like was holding the entire underwater base hostage and they had to go save him. I don't know, just goofy, but it was funny. But he had a big base like this. Also, one thing, if this is the case, Deep's Sentinel subsea habitat system radically expands human access to the ocean. Sentinel fills a technology gap unserved by diving or submersible methods, allowing people to live and work underwater for longer periods and unlock new discoveries. Interesting. Also, like, no offense, these 3D renders aren't even like that good. Interesting. It also seems like a lot of a lot of like startups, companies who are radically changing or like going into a completely new like industry or doing something different, all generally do their own manufacturing, which, you know, I guess zooming out makes sense because like it's probably super custom, but yeah, that is an interesting pattern. Wire arc additive manufacturing to create structures we need efficiently. More materially specifically in areas that will experience the most force when underwater. Using this technique requires less material to meet performance demands, resulting in quicker production and reduced waste. Yeah, interesting. Okay, let's Deep in generals. Never heard of these guys. Yeah. Make humans aquatic. Interesting. How much money has they raised, I wonder? Interesting. As part of our mission, we have developed world-class capabilities and expertise in additive manufacturing, R&D, testing, and human performance. Do these guys own this thing? This is cool. I want to see how much money they've raised. So they must be primarily do research for now. That's $1 million. U.S. Office of Naval Research funding teach students and educators about past, current, and future human undersea explorations. Newly awarded 3-year project titled 2051 Sea Odyssey. 8-part docuseries. Oh, that's cool. I wonder why it's called 2051. I just want to know if they've raised any other money. Well, they post updates pretty often. They have like no social media presence, which is a little odd. It also seems like they're building like a cool campus kind of area. And it seems like it's like an old quarry or something, probably because they need to test stuff. Huh. I guess just expanding on the thought of the manufacturing, people like startups like this doing their own manufacturing. I just imagine that like you probably get too sidetracked when it comes to the actual product, and I just imagine it would take much longer to get up and running if you were to just buy off-the-shelf parts that you could quickly use to build things. But I imagine that like they're kind of probably in this for the long, like more of the like long game, long run. and they probably need specific to make habitats this big. I imagine they probably needed to like invent specific ways to like sustain this. Yeah, it's interesting. Interesting strategy. Okay, let's actually read about them. Okay, the future of human habitation in the sea is taking shape in an abandoned quarry on the border of Wales and England. Yeah, Wales and England. I was like, is this a controversial statement? Accepting Wales as the independent? Are they independent? I don't even know. But they're a country, I guess. Part of the United Kingdom. That's a weird. Okay, I actually didn't know they're their own country. I thought they were like just a region. There, the ocean exploration organization Deep has embarked on a multi-year quest to enable scientists to live on the seafloor at depths of up to 200 meters for weeks, months, and possibly even years. It's like the space station, International Space Station, but for water. But for under the ocean. Aquarius Reef Base in St. Croix was the last installed habitat back in 1987. Holy shit! And there hasn't been much ground broken in about 40 years, says Kirk Crack, human driver performance lead at Deep. Kirk Crack, what a name! That's crazy. That's a cool name. Wow, this is hell old. I just want pictures, but we're trying to bring ocean science and engineering into the 21st century. Deep's agenda has a major milestone this year: the development and testing of small modular habitat called Vanguard. This transportable pressurized underwater shelter capable of housing up to 3 divers for a period ranging up to a week or so will be a stepping stone to a more permanent modular habitat system known as Sentinel that is set to launch in 2027. By 2030, we hope to see permanent human presence in the ocean, says Crack. All of this is now possible thanks to an advanced 3D printing welding approach that can print these large habitat structures. Interesting. It's crazy that they're 3D printing them, like, in a way. Also, I feel like this isn't new because divers stay underwater, like in like oil and stuff for a while, and they live under there, and they use like helium inside there to like ensure that, yeah, saturation diving, this is exactly what it's called. Yeah, it's diving for periods long enough to bring all tissues into equilibrium with partial pressures of the inert compounds of breathing gas used. Yeah, essentially you just normalize to the actual depth that you're going to be staying at, and then they use special gas. I think it's like helium or some shit, or yeah, like a mix of helium, because I just watching videos and like their voices are like high. But they stay down here for a while. I wonder how long they say. Days to weeks, yeah. Yeah, the bends. This is such a cool ship. Yeah, look, here's a habitat. This is exactly, this is like, like this looks very similar. So anyways, okay, so I guess what I'm just saying, like, this isn't like anything crazy yet. It's cool that it's their own developed modular habitat system, but we're still early. How could such a presence benefit marine science? Crack runs the numbers for me. With current diving at 150-200 meters, you can only get 10 minutes of work completed, followed by 6 hours of decompression. With our underwater habitats, we'll be able to do 7 years worth of work in 30 days. With shorter decompression time, more than 90% of the ocean's biodiversity lives within 200 meters depth. Interesting. Never knew that. And at the shorelines, oh, okay. and we only know about 20% of it. Understanding these undersea ecosystems and environments is a crucial piece of the climate puzzle, he adds. The oceans absorb nearly a quarter of human-caused carbon dioxide, roughly 90% of the excess heat generated by human activity. Dang. Yeah, that's crazy. 200 meters, 90% of the ocean is within 200 meters and at the shorelines. I wonder like how like what it is like at 200 meters actually, like 200 meter depth. Like how deep is that actually? Ugh, Underwater Living gets the green light this year. Deep is looking to build an underwater. Have we been calling it depth or deep? Deep is looking to build an underwater life supporting support infrastructure that features not just modular habitats, but also training programs for the scientists who will use them. I see. Interesting. So they're going to train them. Long-term habitation underwater involves a specialized type of activity called saturation diving. So named because the diver's tissues become saturated with gases such as nitrogen or helium. Okay, so they're literally just doing this, but on a larger scale. So named because the diver's tissues become saturated with gases such as nitrogen or helium. Yeah, okay, so this is the gases they use for them to breathe in. It has been used for decades in the offshore oil and gas sectors, but is uncommon in scientific diving. Yeah, literally exactly what we're talking about. Interesting that's uncommon scientific diving. I never really thought about that, I guess. Outside of the relatively small number of researchers fortunate enough to have spent time in Aquarius. Oh, I feel like that's what we looked at. Oh no, this is Tech Height. Aquarius is what they mentioned before, I think. I want to see a picture though. You could join a class. I swear like NASA had something called like Nemo. But I think that wasn't even that deep. It was more testing too. Deep wants to make it standard practice for undersea researchers. The first rung in the ladder is Vanguard, a rapidly deployable expedition-style underwater habitat the size of a shipping container that can be transported and supplied by ship and house 3 people down to the depths of about 100 meters. It is set to be tested in a quarry outside of Chepstow, Wales in the first quarter of 2025. That's probably that base we were looking at. But this begs the question as like what they're doing differently besides making them themselves. Like, how are they going to make money? Who are they going to sell them to? Existing oil companies? Like, my thinking is that they're going to have, like, an International Space Station style, like, large base. And then you could kind of rent or, like, pay, like, live down there and pay rent in a way to do research and get access to their stuff and training programs or something. Also, it's cool that they're tethered so you could actually... Interesting. Oh yeah, what was this? $150 million. That's how much the facility cost. That's actually way cheaper than I would have thought, if I'm being honest. That's like one rocket to space. Dang, some submarines are being installed on site. This is cool. It's like an old quarry. The first rung in that ladder is Vanguard, a rapidly deployable expedition-style underwater habitat. The size, size of shipping container. We already read this, I think. Yeah, transported, supplied by ship. Yeah, 100 meters. It's set to be tested in a quarry outside Wales in the first quarter of 2025. So that's like soon. Sometime in the next few months, assuming that they go on schedule. The plan is to be able to deploy Vanguard, wherever it is needed for a week or so. Divers will be able to work for hours on the seabed floor before retiring to the module for meals and rest. Yeah, but that's, I don't know. Yeah, I guess this seems like it exists now. So like, I don't, like what's the... Yeah, diving bellies are like... It's actually an insanely in-depth article. Bro, like they are, like the Navy has bases already, like. Bro, saturation system control panel. Bro, this thing's hella old. This aesthetic is so good. Like these TVs here. Like monitors. Got the VHS in the back here with the tape player. Look at his phone. Just like so many valves and shit. Crazy. This is what that schematic we looked at. Yeah, bro, this is literally exactly gonna be like their fucking chamber. It's gonna look, you know, probably a little more modern, but like, look how dirty these like things are. It's crazy. Helium quad breathing gas. Dang, look at the complex system they have. So I guess like now it's kind of the question is like a German one. Is there a market? Yeah, is there really a market for a modernized version of this? If all they're doing is just kind of modernizing this, increasing the scale, yeah, like maybe they actually plan to actually sell to people like the oil companies and such for like scientific, you know, stuff. Huh. Okay. One of the novel features of Vanguard is its extraordinary flexibility when it comes to power. There are currently 3 options when deployed close to shore. It can connect by a cable to an onshore distribution center using local renewables. Farther out at sea, it could be supplied from a floating renewable energy farm and fuel cells that would feed Vanguard via an umbilical link, or it could be supplied by an underwater energy storage system that contains multiple batteries that can be charged, retrieved, and redeployed via subsea cables. Yeah, the floating renewable energy farm is a cool one. Tied to shore, close to shore. Yeah, I mean, I guess if it's deployed close to shore, this one probably seems like the best. But I think having a combination of these last two, floating renewables and then batteries, would probably be the best. That's cool though, floating renewables. Breathing gases will be housed in external tanks on the seabed and contain a mix of oxygen and helium. Okay, so they're going with helium. That will depend on the depth. In the event of an emergency, saturated divers won't be able to swim to the surface without suffering life-threatening cases of decompression illness. The bends. So Vanguard, as well as the future Sentinel, will have backup power sufficient to provide 96 hours of life support in an external adjacent pod on the seafloor. An external adjacent pod, so like if you're like emergency, you have to fucking like swim out. You have to like swim to the other pod. Data gathered from Vanguard this year will help pave the way for Sentinel, which will be made up of pods of different sizes and capabilities. These pods will even be capable of being set to different internal pressures so that different sections can perform different functions. For example, the labs could be at the local bathymetric pressure for analyzing samples in their natural environment, but alongside those, a 1 atmosphere chamber can be set up where submersibles can dock and visitors could observe the habitat without needing to equalize to the local pressure. Interesting. Sounds complex. As deep sees it, a typical configuration would house 6 people, each with their own bedroom and bathroom. Holy shit. It would also have a suite of scientific equipment, including full wet labs to perform genetic analyses, saving days by not having to transport samples to a topside lab for analyses. Yeah, that's interesting. By 2030, we hope to see a permanent human presence in the ocean, says one of the project's principals. Dude, 2030 is going to be insane. The 2030s are going to be insane. A Sentinel configuration is designed to go for a month before needing a resupply. Gases will be topped off by an umbilical link from a surface buoy, and food, water, and other supplies will be brought down during planned crew changes every 28 days. chopped off by an umbilical link from a surface buoy. Interesting. Yeah, I was like, imagine having like an umbilical type of thing for like the International Space Station. But people will be able to live in Sentinel for months, if not years. I don't know about that, because like they've done 0 studies for like people living underwater for years. We need to like do some studies here. But most people will be there for 28 days due to crew changes, says Crack. Yeah. Okay. Where 3D printing and welding meet. It's a very ambitious vision, and Deep has concluded that it can be achieved only with advanced manufacturing techniques. Deep's manufacturing arm, Deep Manufacturing Labs, has come up with an innovative approach for building the pressure hulls of the habitat modules. It's using robots to combine metal additive manufacturing with welding in a process known as wire arc additive manufacturing. With these robots, metal layers are building up as they would be in 3D printing, but the layers are fused together via welding using a metal inert gas torch. Complicated. These submarines like this are so sick too. At Deep Space Operations, a former quarry in Tidenham, England. Resources include 2 Triton 3300, 3 MK Mark 3 Mark II submarines. One of them is here at Deep's floating island. That's cool. During a tour of the DML, Harry Thompson, Advanced Manufacturing Engineering Lead, says we sit in a gray area between welding and additive process, so we're following welding rules, but for pressure vessels, we also follow stress relieving process that is applicable for an additive component. We're also testing all the parts with non-destructive testing. Each robot arm has an operating range of 2.8 by 3.8 meters, but DML says boosted this area by means of a concept called Hexbot. It's based on 6 robotic arms programmed to work in unison to create habitat holes with a diameter of up to 6.1 meters. The biggest challenge with creating holes is managing the heat during the additive process to keep parts from deforming as they are created. Interesting. For this, DML is relying on the use of heat-tolerant steels and on very precisely optimized process parameters. That seems to put a pretty big limitation, though, on what materials you could use to build. Huh. Okay, engineering challenges for long-term habitation. Excuse me. Also, these Nugent coffee supply drinks are pretty good. I like canned coffee a lot. I drank it a lot when I was in Korea. And these are 99 cents on sale at Sprouts. Can't beat it. Although it has a shit ton of caffeine. That is 220 milligrams. But it's pretty good. In terms of canned coffee. In terms of canned coffee, at least. Okay. Besides manufacturing, there are other challenges that are unique to the tricky business of keeping people happy and alive 200 meters underwater. One of the most fascinating of these revolves around helium because its narcotic effect at high pressure. Nitrogen shouldn't be breathed by humans at depths below 60 meters. So at 200 meters, the breathing mix in the habitat will be 2% oxygen and 98% helium. Holy shit. But because of its very high thermal conductivity, we need to heat helium to 31 to 32 degrees Celsius to get normal 21 to 22 internal temperature environment. Wow. This creates a humid atmosphere, so porous materials become a breeding ground for mold. Oh shit. What is this in terms of Fahrenheit? T2F. This 68 Fahrenheit. Okay, that's perfect. Around 70. There are a host of other materials related challenges too. The materials can't emit gas. Interesting. I would have thought about that. They must be acoustically insulating, lightweight, and structurally sound at high pressures. Interesting, yeah. There's so many electrical challenges. Helium breaks certain electrical components with high degree of certainty, says Goddard. We've had to pull devices to pieces, change chips, change printed circuit boards, and even design our own PCBs that don't off gas. Holy shit, I would have never thought about that. That's crazy. That's so interesting. I wonder, like, what is it? I wonder if it's only specifically at that pressures, or I wonder if it's emitting some sort of gas in normal environments. The electrical system will also have to accommodate an energy mix with such varied sources as floating solar arms and fuel cells on the surface buoy. Energy storage devices present major electrical engineering challenges. Helium seeps into capacitors and can destroy them when it tries to escape during decompression. Batteries too develop problems with at high pressure, so they'll have to be housed at a habitat in 1 atmosphere pressure vessel or in oil-filled blocks that prevent differential pressure inside. What the hell? Interesting. Wow. Is it possible to live in the ocean floor for months or years? When you're trying to be the SpaceX of the ocean, exactly. Questions are naturally going to fly about the feasibility of such an ambition. How likely is it that deep can follow through? At least one top authority, John Clark, is a believer. I've been astounded by the quality of engineering methods and expertise applied to problems at hand, and I'm enthusiastic about how deep is applying new technology, says Clark, who was a lead scientist of the U.S. Navy Experimental Diving Unit. They're advancing well beyond expectations. I gladly endorse Deep in their quest to expand humankind's embrace of the sea. Huh. 800 feet. Oh shit. Why does it 8 look like it's upside down? It's adventurous life chosen by working class people, scientists, researchers, engineers, medical personnel like study. Yeah, mineral extraction, oil companies, underwater habitat for rich and powerful people, adventurous sport, etc. For a week or so, they won't like the hardships, toughness of monotonous life below the ocean. Yeah, exactly. I'm comparing the International Space Station is what I seem like closely compared to as well. Interesting. Yeah, this is cool. I love to see stuff like this, especially large scale. Larger scales, where interesting problems and stuff arise, and so I think like anyone could do small scale stuff. I'm exaggerating, like, but you know, like large scale like this is where like real challenges, but also real opportunities start to come about. You know, so yeah, this is interesting. I follow them on Twitter, so we'll keep following. Okay, let's look at Longshot Space now. I might end stream a little early today. Speaking of big ideas, so let's actually, this was posted, this is September 25th. Let's just read this because they raised some money and we just get a little bit of background, and then we'll take a look, we'll explore their website a bit, and then we might look at one story and then I'll call it there. Okay, so this is Longshot Space. $5 million new funding to build space gun in the desert. So this is kind of in line with Slingshot Space. Or is it Slingshot Space? It's spin launch. What did I run into? Uh-oh, got a fucking warning. Let's put it. Okay. So this is another space company. Wait, what did I just run into? NOAA contract developed presentation layer for the traffic coordination system for space. I feel like I actually have come across them by accident before, looking up spin launch. Oh, we've looked at it on stream, I'm pretty sure, because they have like, yeah, space object tracking and shit, like. Because I remember thinking like, oh, this is actually a good idea and like an interesting like analytics for space launch stuff. Like, it's interesting. Yeah, this is a good idea, actually. Wonder if they have APIs for like normal people. Probably not. Oh yeah, careers. I just like to look just to see who they're hiring. Interesting places. Bro, this dude is into posture for a hobby. Anyways. Hiring a few. Field systems manager seems like a cool job. All right. Anyways, Longshot space. Yeah, this is like spin launch. That's what I was looking up. It's like an alternative launching system, I guess. I don't know what you'd call it necessarily. Longshot space. Yeah, close to 5 million. This is September. Why use a rocket when you could use a giant miles-long gun instead? What's the question? That's the question posed by Longshot Space, a company that's completely rethinking how to send mass to orbit. The company is developing a kinetic launch system that will gradually accelerate payloads to hypersonic speeds before launching them to orbit. They're making a railgun, essentially. While Longshot's full-scale system will take up a lot of space, the startup is betting it can achieve very, very low cost to orbit compared to a rocket, as low as $10 per kilogram, which is a staggering reduction compared to the $6,000 per kilogram price of a rideshare on SpaceX Falcon 9 rocket. The company raised $1.5 million pre-seed round in April 2023. Now, nearly 18 months later, Longshot closed a little over $5 million in combined venture funding and non-dilutive funding from the U.S. Air Force. This program. What is this program? Tactical funding increase. Support small businesses and foster innovation. Bro, come on. Come on, Air Force. Throw one of your veterans a little, little piece here. Get a little slice of this. They could apply for up to $1.8 million in funding prototype. Yeah, bro, give me a slice of this. This is cool though. Prototype your technology. That's cool. Government funding. Bridge the gap between small research contracts and large strategic funding opportunities such as Strafi, which offers up to $15 million. That's cool. Okay, anyways. So it looks like they applied for this, which is neat. The new capital will be used to build a massive 500-meter long gun in the Nevada desert to push 500-meter long gun. That's insane. So like almost half a mile, over half a mile, to push 100 kilograms of payload to Mach 5. Yeah, I thought so. Like, I thought this stuff was like physically, like physical, like physics. It just wasn't possible. Like, we might as well build a space elevator and some shit at this point. Like, the move to Nevada is needed. Longshot Space has built out a prototype from its facilities in Oakland, California, but a dense urban location is not the best place to site increasing large space guns. The Oakland prototype hit 4.6 Mach speed. That's crazy, actually. If they're trying to get Mach 5 and they already hit 4.6, but going any faster will mean longer tube in the use of highly combustible hydrogen gas. While they're using hydrogen too. We prefer not to blow ourselves and other people up, Longshot CEO Mike Gray said in a recent interview. We decided to just declare victory and withdraw Mach 4.6. The mile-long strip of land in Tonopah, Nevada, a town that's home to the world's famous Clown Motel, as well as development of the secretive F-117 stealth bomber, Gray said, will enable Longshot to demonstrate launch capabilities to prospective customers, including the U.S. Department of Defense. The problem, though, I feel like when you have to do shit like this is that, like, getting talent is hard because you have to get, like, you have to live here then. Like, no offense to Tonopah, Nevada, but like, yeah. I don't know. It's hard. That's hard. Like, it'd be a hard sell to get me to move here to continue working for a company. U.S. Department of Defense. Yeah, okay. Longshot's architecture works in two ways. The first is by using an accelerant gas to push a plate and the payload forward using multiple injections, and by squeezing the payload from the sides. Huh? But the company will be able to get upwards of Mach 7 speeds without any squeezing. So this first system in Nevada will be a multi-injection gun with 30-inch diameter, so the company can start moving payloads as quickly as possible. I didn't really get that explanation. The system has to be long in order to keep the acceleration forces low, which is better for both the vehicle and payload. Longshot is aiming to keep the maximum gravitational forces to 500 to 600 times the force of gravity. An ultra-long system, something around 25 kilometers. Holy shit. Could bring those forces down to just 250 Gs, however. 25 kilometers. That's crazy. The company's aim is not to replace propulsive rockets. Not all payloads are suitable for the high G forces. Yeah, and this is, I'm glad they mentioned this because this is exactly what I was thinking with spin launch, where there's, the market is a little bit smaller for payloads that could withstand like such high G forces, and they have to generally be like okay with withstanding that to even be able to be launched on things like that. And this is even more so, it seems like. I don't know what the G's pulled in spin launch, but I imagine it's similar. Let alone humans. The size of the tube will also be smaller than larger rocket fairings, so Longshot is principally looking for customers who want to go cheap and rugged. For comparison, rocket launches exert around 3 Gs during takeoff. Holy shit, not even close. So this much more gravitational force. Yeah, this is much more. But it's far less than other Kinect launch systems. Like the here we go, proposed by spin launch, which accelerate payloads of over 10,000 Gs. Oh my god, I wasn't even close. Yeah, should not have spoken on that. Okay, I thought they're similar, but yeah, exactly. I guess though, it's like, like only very specific payloads could withstand things like this. So, but this is way better. But also, it takes way more space. It seems like land. The new round included participation from Starship Venture and Mycilin VC. With the funding complete, Longshot is now awaiting approvals from the Nevada Federal Aviation Administration to begin construction on the massive Nevada system. The startup also submitted a proposal under DoD's Multi-Service Advanced Capabilities Hypersonic Testbed Mach TV program. Holy shit. Which was established in 2022 to solicit hypersonic testing capabilities from private industries. Interesting. Holy shit, bro. I got fucking lightheaded from saying that fucking word. Okay. Yeah, interesting. So actually the way that I found out about them, do they have like they have social media, it's just not listed anywhere. They have a very small team. Astrobiology. What's this called? Longshot Space. This like VC guy, I guess someone who invested in them, he like posted like all these companies he's invested in, and like no offense, like they're all a long shot. I'll just say that. Who's Astranus? Okay, I wasn't exact. I don't know where it is. Anyways, okay, let's actually look. First, let's look at the homepage. So, building the world's largest, and I like their branding. I do really like their branding. That matters to me. Putting effort into the brand, like, yeah, I think that matters to me at least. Or at least their style, like they're visually, like, I don't know, it gets people to like the company more. Yeah, I just like when companies like build around an aesthetic. We're building the world's largest gun to provide affordable, responsive, hypersonic testing with the goal of launching cargo into space. Okay, the technology is where the accelerator is. We use rockets. Okay, a future where humanity has access to outer space will require sending gigatons of raw material and equipment to orbit. Achieve the lowest possible cost for delivering mass to orbit using simple, reliable technology. Guns. Sam Altman. Space Fund, Starship Ventures. Yeah. I do think there is a potential long-term, super long-term play or game about specifically just raw materials. Because I imagine that once we actually start like colonizing, quote unquote, like low Earth orbit and just orbit, I'm not even talking about like other planets, like just specifically orbit, and like manufacturing in orbit and things like that, like raw materials, just getting raw materials up is going to be insane, because we're just talking like steel or, you know, shit like that, like, you know, just super raw. I imagine the economics of like doing all this on like Falcon 9s isn't going to work. Starships will work, but like that's going to be like the scale for that is just insane, and it's going to be expensive initially, really expensive, like super expensive, I think. And it's going to probably be for more like valuable or more precise orbits, and just like for more valuable materials like satellites and things, whereas like stuff like this, which is super cheap, you know, maybe you just need it like to get to a single point in space to like rendezvous with something, or something to rendezvous with it, which is more likely with something like this. You just want it the cheapest possible. You don't even care how it gets to space as long as it can withstand the G's. I think that's kind of the long play here. And so like the fact that they have this and they'll be around like in the desert, it sets up perfect for them to you know, kind of create facilities and like an ecosystem around their launch system. And especially considering, like, I imagine they have extremely quick turnaround, since they don't have to like have a rocket launch, you know, it just might be some propellant and then prepping it, but you could even like prep it before, just put it on the launch pad. I don't know, we'll see how it works, but I think there is a long game, like a long game in this one. Watch their video.
Rockets are flexible. They go exactly where you want them to. They do not have a very good marginal cost. Rockets are really expensive and fragile. What we need to do now is we need to move enormous amounts of material to space at the absolute lowest cost. In World War II, the Germans built a bunch of different crazy super weapons. One of them was the V2. The other was called the V3, which was a multi-injection gun. Turns out it wasn't a very good weapon, but it was a very good way of making things go very, very, very fast.
Wait, okay, I still need to understand the physics of this, because I didn't even think the physics of this were possible.
At a very low cost. So we think we can build something very similar to the V3 that the Germans built, flat on the ground, and use it to put stuff into space.
Wait, this seems way more complex than possible. Like, all those tanks, like, bro, this shit like this is crazy. It's also crazy that they're doing this, like, in Oakland. Like, bro, you're just, like, walking downtown, you know, like, and, you know, a few blocks away, these people are fucking making this, like, ex-German like mega like gun like to launch things into
The
space
velocity
like
about Mach 1. And from there, we made huge steps. We went from 1 to 1.8, 2.2. Then in December,
bro, they're literally like in a container, like on the like this is crazy. I love this though. It's cool shit.
Then in December, we got to 3.6, and mid-December it was Mach 4.2. So over the past 6 months, we've basically quadrupled our speed, which is amazing.
What we're doing here is so unique. It will just completely change the dynamic of space launch and how people even think about space.
What we're building is never going to be appropriate for putting you or me into space, but
Materials, fuel, satellites,
Flatten out.
anything, bringing into space.
we're here to crack the solar
fuel
system.
like I think materials, stuff like that. I think this is their play. This is their long game here.
Open like an egg. We're building a multi-injection kinetic accelerator for taking large stuff to extremely high speeds and putting it directly into orbit.
Interesting. Okay, let's look at the accelerator now. I want to look more. I want to see what their final. So this is their implementation. I loved how they actually added. Bro, this isn't even in a warehouse. It's just like they just added like soundproofing foam, and I love how like there's flowers like leaking over. Like there's, I don't know, it just adds a touch. So this is interesting. So what I imagine happening is like each one of these is a different area for injecting hydrogen, and every time it passes it, there's a little explosion behind it that propels it forward. And so it would like go through past this. So it would start with a some propellant in the back. It would push it would pass this would empty, explode, it would accelerate more, pass this, empty, explode, and keep doing that to keep speeding it up. That's kind of what I imagine that they're doing, which is, it's almost like weirdly simple, but it works. I don't know. The current Longshot accelerator is located in Oakland, consists of a kick stage providing the initial impulse, followed by 3 boosters along the length of a 60-foot barrel. It is capable of accelerating payloads up to 6 inches in diameter to Mach 4.2. 6 inches in diameter. I mean, that's like this, like, which is like a CubeSat. Technology demonstrator was built to measure the speed of and location of the projectiles in the barrel, implement high-speed gas injection. Yeah. Demonstrate building low-cost hardware that meets challenging performance constraints. Yeah, okay. Here we go. This is exactly what kind of thought. So I have storage, kick stage boosters. Yeah, it's like passes this, the gas empties and it boosts it. Empties, boost, empties, boost. Pusher plate, payload support, payload. Oh, I see. So it has like a payload, like something to like support the structure of the payload, probably like a ring or something. So it doesn't like blow apart probably too. Yeah, okay. Booster pushes from behind. Yeah, it's like multi-shot injection guns like Longshot's current prototypes spread the acceleration of the projectile out over time, but have a similar top speed to a traditional cannon. The speed is limited by the top speed of the gas, which is determined by the gas composition and temperature. Room temperature, nitrogen, this is a maximum of just over Mach 4, about 1/6 the speed needed for launch. By moving the system to the desert, Longshot can use the hydrogen as the accelerant gas by extending the length of the barrel to 500 plus meters and adding more boosters. Longshot will be able to accelerate payloads of up to 100 kilograms to Mach 5 plus at acceleration levels that your cell phone can survive. Oh, okay, interesting. That's a good reference, I think, actually. And at prices significantly lower than current rocket-based accelerator systems. Gas cannons have been used for decades to either extend the period of acceleration of a projectile or attempt to put things into space. Dang, he's making like mini versions of it here with like pipe. That's cool. But it's kind of sus that like, I don't mean to shit on these guys. Like, how he's like, he like like, I've never heard of this like these like Nazi weapons like that. Like, I don't know. It's a little sus. It's a little weird. So this is it right here. I should. Oh, holy shit, bro! This is it. Unexpected materials that were designed to take high temperatures. It was bombed by the Allies in World War II before it could be completed. Yeah, probably for the better, I'll just say. HARP was a very large but traditional cannon designed to send projectiles into space. It was made of high quality materials that could take the high temperatures pressure required. The single impulse meant that the projectile experienced extremely high acceleration. It was commissioned in the 60s and was fired in a single projectile, and it fired a single projectile to 180-kilometer altitude before the program was canceled. Dang. He built a multi-injection PVC cannon in his garage that was eventually modified to a 20-foot long version. Fired Mach 1 planet, demonstrating its ability to accelerate projectiles with a multi-stage injection system at low hardware cost. It laid the groundwork. Dang. I want to see its long-term plan. Like, what's the big one gonna be? Compensation and transparency? Okay. I like transparency stuff like this. Okay, well, Longshot's cool. I guess I was hoping you'd see kind of their end goal. Or like what they envision it being. I kind of just want to see a diagram of like a giant booster. But that's cool. Yeah, Longshot Space. Again, I think there's a long play here about specifically for materials, but I don't know. Whoops. We'll see. All right. Yeah, this was bro, this AGI stuff is kind of getting like dumb actually. Like people are just like, hype isn't even the right word. Like I don't even know what word to use, but yeah, it's just like people are like not over exaggerating is like kind of hype, but it's like more than that. They're like lying. Like what is what is past hype? Just lying. Yeah, like actually. But this is I haven't read the entire thing, but this seems like he's trying to he needs more money. They just need more money. There's some agreement with Microsoft about AGI, and like once they hit AGI, then like they could kind of like break away from Microsoft or some bullshit or something. So I don't know. There's like other incentives, but I think this is in relation to it. Let's take a look at this and then we'll close off here. But OpenAI is losing money on its pricey ChatGPT Pro plan, CEO Sam Altman says, which is $200 a month and gives you access to O1 Pro. But O1 just in general costs a shit ton of money to run because it takes so much more compute, because it essentially extends the amount of time it has to think using more compute, inference compute at least. OpenAI CEO Sam Altman Sunday said that the company is currently losing money on its $200 per month ChatGPT Pro plan because people are using it more than the company expected. I personally chose the price, Altman wrote in a series of posts on X, and thought we would make some money. Holy shit. I didn't realize he tweeted like this. Yeah, I don't know. That's crazy. Is this Paul Graham? Yeah, I don't know. I guess it's like to be expected. I didn't think they were going into it thinking they would make money, really. ChatGPT Pro launched late last year. Saying last year, it's like, bro, it was like 2 weeks ago. It was launched like a month ago. Grants access to upgraded version of OpenAI's O1 reasoning AI model, O1 Pro, and lifts rate limits on several of the company's other tools, including Sora video generator. Oh, I actually didn't know it lifted rate limits on that one. I didn't remember that. ChatGPT Pro price point wasn't a slam dunk at launch. It's $2,400 per year, and the value proposition of O1 Pro in particular remains murky. Yeah, it's like, I mean, just O1 in general, it's kind of like, yeah, the benchmarks might have shown it, but I don't know. Sometimes the benchmarks are like not really an indicator of real life usage. But judging by Element's post, it seems that users who have bitten the bullet are making the most of it at OpenAI's expense. But okay, let's think about this more of a psychological perspective. If OpenAI is charging $200 per month and someone's paying that, you bet their ass they're getting their $200 worth of that per month. It's just the perceived, you know, it's like a more of a psychological thing when you charge people for expensive stuff, that they're like, they want to get their money worth, so they're going to use it more. And I feel like that, you know, it may not even be the best, but the fact that people are paying for it, especially $200 a month compared to the $20 like other plan, yeah, people are just going to use it more to get their $200 worth. Like, you know, I feel like they kind of were hoping that it'd be the typical like SaaS market where it's like, I'm sure there's a, you know, large percentage, or at least some percentage, that don't actually use what like they're paying for fully. And so, yeah, I don't know. I feel like they had to have thought about this. It's not the first time OpenAI has priced a product somewhat arbitrarily. In a recent interview with Bloomberg, Altman said that the original premium plan for OpenAI's powered chatbot ChatGPT didn't have a pricing study. I believe we tested two prices, $20 and $42. He told the publication, people thought 42 was a little too much. They were happy to pay 20. We picked 20. It was late December 2022 or early January. It was not a rigorous hire someone to do a pricing study thing. It's crazy because this set just the market price in general. Every other AI tool, Perplexity, Claude, I think Gemini Pro, like they're all like about $20. Which as a consumer, I think is fair. I think 42 would have been too much. I think 30 would have been justified. But I think they're probably going to raise prices. I feel like, yeah, I feel like they're going to have to, like 25. I would still pay up to 30, I think. Once we get past 30, then it's kind of like, okay, like let's go. But even at 30, like I would want them to, I don't know, I just hate the UIs. I just want them to clean up the UIs, make them a little less clunky. But realistically, if they start improving things or like adding a bunch of features, it's just going to actually increase the cost to OpenAI. And so I don't know if that's, yeah, I don't know. OpenAI isn't profitable despite having raised around $20 billion since its founding. The company reportedly expected losses of $5 billion on revenue of $3.7 billion. That's not that bad. I mean, like billions is still a lot. Like, I'll say like losing 5 billion is still a lot. But like it's you know, we're getting there. But this year they're gonna have to turn a profit. I just don't think everyone's gonna keep bankrolling them unless they turn a profit, or at least have the trend going in the right direction, or at least have some sort of problem the specific problem now that they're solving. Expenditures like staffing, office rent, and AI training infrastructure are to blame. ChatGPT was at one point costing OpenAI an estimated $700,000 per day. Recently, OpenAI admitted it needed more capital than it imagined as it prepares to undergo a corporate restructuring to attract new investments. To reach profitability, OpenAI is said to be considering increasing the price of its various subscription tiers. Yeah, okay, there you go. Altman also hinted in the Bloomberg interview that OpenAI may explore usage-based pricing for certain services. I think usage-based pricing is good for now until we understand more and the market gets a bit more mature. I still think having a low-cost option to have access to a wider variety of tools to get people to try things is important, though. But actually, maybe not right now, because they're still kind of selling to like more early adopters and like innovator types in terms of the like technology adoption curve. In terms of this year, like we're still early on, we're still down here. OpenAI optimistically projects that its revenue will reach $11.6 billion this year and $100 billion in 2029. 2029. Matching the current annual sales of Nestle. Yeah, that's crazy. Shit ton of money. So much money. It better be, bro, we better get something out of this. Better get something out of this. All right, well, that's all I have planned for today's stream, guys. Appreciate everyone showing up. I'm gonna work on my long form video and newsletter. I'm bringing back newsletter. I'm gonna make that one of my core content creation things. I'm gonna bring back Technonomicon, but I'm gonna launch it in a, it's gonna be more creative and it's gonna be focusing on emerging technologies, kind of like it was in the past, but including privacy. But I'm gonna relaunch it and I have some fun plans. I want to try and like use AI though in a way, but make it like tasteful and entertaining and not AI slop, I guess. So yeah. Anyways, thanks everyone for tuning in. I appreciate everyone showing up and watching. If you enjoyed the stream, like and subscribe. Follow me on X. Check out my website. Do all the cool things. Thanks everyone. I'll see you tomorrow, 9 a.m. Pacific. Peace.